came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, man. I want to do something a little bit different today, man. I'm looking in the water. We got grass. I got lily pads. I kind of want to have a little competition amongst fluorocarbon versus braid with a fluorocarbon leader today. One of the things that I'm always flip-flopping back and forth, you know, do I lose more fish with braid and a fluorocarbon leader because you have no stretch, or, you know, do I lose, you know, or do I need to have fluorocarbon, have that little bit of stretch, you know, can I land more fish that way? So I'm really going to work on that today. We're going to just experiment and see how it goes. We're going to be flipping some lily pads, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what my day is going to be about. And then I also want to talk about tempo. I think the light switch has flipped from moving baits to I've got to slow down. And you know, it's two complete different tempos. And when it's the slow down tempo when fish are spawning, you cannot go slow enough. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So, man, it's looking fishy. I want to get up here and start pitching my general around some of these pads and see what happens.
From the top of the mountain.
We got a bite. Sweet. Sweet. Oh, yes, it's a chunky one. Way to get it started. Caught that one just on straight fluorocarbon. Got quite a few boats around, so I'm being a little quiet, trying not to get too excited. But we got us a good one. All right. Thank you, buddy. Thank you, thank you. Sweet. So, you know, always analyze your first bite. Long pitch on that cast. You know, he bit right off the bat. It wasn't like I left it in there. One thing that I did that if you were to go back and watch is I let him eat it. Like, I take my time. I'm gonna gather myself. I'm really focusing on that this year. I'm tired of losing fish flipping, and I feel like a lot of times I rush the hook set. So we're gonna really work this year on letting them have it, and then giving them the medicine, you know. After I'm gonna gather myself. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say, gather yourself before you set the hook. Had that first bite, and then I slowed down. Like, you know, that's what you do. You slow down, you really pick everything apart, because I feel like it happens in groups. I haven't had another bite since then. We had a little bite, but I'm gonna kind of cover a little bit more water. It's hard to cover water flipping fast. So instead of trying to hit every one of these targets down through here, I'm gonna go at a little bit better clip. Just keep the trolling motor on low, real quiet, and you know, hit every other one or every third one until I get another bite. Then I'll shut it down, slow down, and try to pick that area apart and see if there's a group of them right there. But, you know, I've gone a long ways here, you know, going real slow, didn't get another bite. So for me, I just need to pick it back up, cover a little water until I find another group. You know, so I fished all the way back here, you know, fished kind of bouncing back and forth to one side or the other. I'm not a guy that's gonna fish my way back out, even though there's a bunch of it I didn't fish. I feel like if I was gonna catch them back here, you know, I would have got enough bites, you know, on one side or the other, you know. Same thing when you go to fish a cove or a pocket at your lake. You know, I fish down one side. You know, I've never been to this body of water. I'm just trying to find them and learn them. You know, and when I'm practicing, I'm gonna fish down, you know, whatever side of the pocket looks the best. If I don't get a bite, I'm idling out. I'm not wasting my time coming out the other side. Or if I'm back up in a creek, I'm gonna fish down one side and then idle out. You know, I'm not gonna fish down both sides. I feel like, you know, you fish one side of something, you're gonna get enough bites that tells you, hey, fish out the other side. If you don't get enough bites, you know, don't waste the time fishing out, idle out. go to the next, you know, it's all about covering water, I feel like. Go to the next spot. That's what we're doing. I think he's still on there. Gosh dang it. Dang it. Man, that was a good one. I felt like I waited. I felt like I did everything right on that. I don't know what happened. Yep, he come off. Gosh dang it. Had some tough stuff to get him out of. My buddy Andy Montgomery said, man, if the terrorists come to America, he's just gonna run down here to Florida and get up underneath these lily pads. He said they'll never get him in there. It's kind of all the bass that we lose in them. Dadgummit. Man, they want it slow. I mean slow, just barely moving that thing. Huh. All right, buddy. Well, that's a couple bites and I'm letting it soak in there. I don't like that because I really don't know the zone, you know. You can see I got a lot of lily pads, so I'm trying to, so I guess I'm gonna have to slow down because I always like to analyze the bite. Like if they bite it on the initial drop or the initial pickup, the last two bites, the one I lost right there and this one right here, man, I had to work it in there. Like it was sitting there, like 5-6 seconds. So, you know, when we opened the video, we talked about the tempo. It's not a moving bait deal. I know we got wind, but I feel like these fish are spawning and it's very slow, very methodical, leaving that bait in there as long as you possibly can. There's a few of them around right here. Few of them around. Just let the wind drift me, you know, don't try to stay off that trolling motor as much as possible. Just get the wind to your back and make as, you know, long pitches. You know, that's just kind of a given, no matter if you're fishing something like this. Anytime you're fishing like, and those fish are spawning, you know, use the wind to your advantage, put it in your back, and extra long pitches. I can't stress that enough. What I got him, oh, it's a better one. It's a better one. Get in there, boat. Yeah, getting bigger, getting bigger. Sweet. All right. Man, a lot of these fish are just really beat up. You can just tell they're going through that spawning process. Beat up fish. All right, buddy, thank you, thank you. Sweet. We better retie after that one. We better, yep. I have got to get me a cushion put on my rod. I got a new rod here. I did not get my cushion put on it. I like these things because they cushion my ribs. Pretty easy to put on, I say. Make it easy now. There we go. All right. It's gonna feel a little better on that hook set now. Doesn't weigh anything. It's real lightweight foam and makes it a lot better on the old hook set. Now I hooked myself. Gosh dang it. All right, here we go. One thing you got to establish when fishing stuff like this, you know, whether it's grass, lily pads, whatever, figure out, you know, the depth, how far in they are. And what I mean by that, you know, there's the outside edge, then you know, you come in 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet. I always like to go back and forth until I find the zone that I get the most bites. You know, so far today, it's been about 15 or 20 feet inside the main line. Now, obviously, if I got an isolated patch out here off the edge, I'm gonna flip it. But, you know, I haven't had any bites up inside that stuff, the hard edge. So you've got to establish that just to be more efficient, you know, because, I mean, it just takes too long to try to flip it all. I'm kind of on a long, dead stretch where I haven't had a bite. And I don't know that a spinnerbait's going to be the answer, but at least it's something I can cover a little water with until I get to another opening or an irregularity, you know, down through these lily pads. It just takes too long to flip them all. So I'm going to take this down through there and see if I can get a bite on it. And then we'll go back to flipping, because I think that's going to be the best way to catch a giant today. Man, I'm kind of going over here on the fluorocarbon. I think I'm gonna switch over to braid for a little bit and just see what happens if something's different. Good one too. Golly. Come here, you big old girl. Come here, come here. Golly. Oh yes, looky there. Oh man, what a light bite. It was just sitting there holding it too. Golly, that makes my day. That's a good one. These parasites on her back. You see all these parasites a lot in Florida on their backs. It's kind of cool. Little bumps. What a fish. Nice one. All right, well, thank you, girl. Let her go. Man, I did not think it was that big when I set the hook. I don't know why, just because I flipped in there and I'm like, I think that's a bite, I think that's a bite, and that's a good point. If ever in doubt, set the hook, because it didn't move, it didn't do anything. It just felt a little heavier. It felt like a half-ounce weight instead of my quarter-ounce weight on there. But man, that was my first switch over to braid, you know. So we landed the first one with braid. I've been flipping fluorocarbon all morning, trying to keep a tally of how many fish I've landed and lost. And you know, I've lost 3 or 4. One good one. I don't really count losing those little ones on fluorocarbon, but we'll see. We're gonna flip the rest of the day with braid and just kind of see what happens with it. So, all right, that was a good one. You know, when breaking stuff down like this, don't ever pass up isolated cover like this. You know, oh, there's another one right in the same piece. There's 2 right in there. Had a good one and a big one. But you can notice, heck, we've been flipping all down through here and we come to one little isolated piece right there. And now we've had 2 bites out of it. Thanks, buddy. I'm guessing one of those might have been the female and one of those the male, but I was just trying to say, like, man, I flipped once in it, didn't get a bite. I made a second flip, one of the few spots that I've made a second flip at today, because that looks so good. So don't pass up, give them 2, 3, 4 flips when you get to those little isolated clumps like that. One thing I really try to do when it's really windy like this is I want to try to make my pitches with the wind. I don't want to be pitching sideways. Too much stuff can go wrong. Too big a bow, you don't know when you get the bite. By the time you know you got a bite, he might have played connected dots through all the lily pads. So I really try to throw downwind, lock down with the power poles, throw downwind, and I'm able to keep my line tight and know exactly when I get that bite. Get in the boat. That's a chunky one too. All right. Yes. Pretty bass right there, isn't it? Man, that's a good hook set right there. So he's still got all those little parasites all over him. All right. Thanks, buddy. Sweet. All right, so let's say you don't have power poles, because like I'm doing a lot of damage with those power poles down. You know, you can drift up, leave your motor tilted down, your trolling motor down, drift up in these pads, let the pads stop you if you don't have a trolling motor, and then that way you can still fish downwind. All right, so since I've switched to braid, I am 3 for 3, but I was 3 for 3 right off the bat with the fluorocarbon too, so I don't know, we'll see. One thing I'm in the bad habit of, you know, when I'm pitching a lighter bait like this, I have to pitch right-handed to be you know, really accurate. You know, when I'm pitching heavier baits, I can pitch left-handed. I can pitch left-handed. I'm more accurate with my right hand. I get in a bad habit, so I make a long pitch, and I throw it out there, and I engage the reel with my right hand, and then I'll sit there and I'll work the bait with my right hand. I always try to consciously not do that. Like, engage it, don't be lazy, get the rod in my left hand, get in position in case I do get that bite. One thing that can be a challenge in the spring, you know, in and around the spawn, is how deep do you fish? Like, if you can't visually see the fish, but you feel like fish are spawning, I feel like you always need to fish the depth right where you can see the bottom, right to where you can't see the bottom. You know, that stretch right there. You know, this morning I could see the bottom really good, 3-4 feet. It was, you know, clear. Now I've gotten a little bit deeper, 4 or 5 feet, where I can't see the bottom, and we're starting to get a lot of bites. So keep that in mind. That works on any lake, no matter what kind of lake it is. You know, in and around the spawn, when you think they're spawning, start in the depth right where you last lose sight of the bottom. Gosh. He's still on there. He was just sitting there holding it. I was like, man, I think that's a fish. I can feel him. I have no idea if it's a good one, a little one, a big one. Oh, where's he at? Oh, I see him down there. He's still on there. It's just a little one. Oh, we got him. Look at that. All that for that fish right there. Oh. If he'd have got off, that's one of them that, man, if you lose that one, oh, it was a giant, like, every time. Like, I am as guilty as they can come for that, so it wasn't a giant, that's for sure. But we got him. Yeah, we have to keep track of Braid. I mean, that fish has got to count, because I was losing a lot of those little fish on fluorocarbon, and I said it was because they were little, so interesting. I gotta get another worm. Not a very big one, but a fish. Right in the roof of the mouth. He's peeing. And they get beat up when they get to spawning, don't they? Oh, you love it. You love it. Because, like, it's just, you don't know when you set the hook. That could just as easily been a 9-pounder. But it wasn't. It was a 9-incher. Had to switch over to just to the general, not the max scent. It's a little bit harder plastic. That max scent's so soft, I just was getting snagged up a bunch. So I switched just to the regular Berkeley Power Bait Black Blue General. And it's made all the difference in the world as far as not getting snagged near as much. All right. All right, so one thing I want to do is get the camera guy here to get the drone up. And we're gonna, you know, fly that drone kind of down this line. And I'm gonna show you what I've learned today and where those bites have come from. So we're gonna get it up, and then I'm gonna talk about, you know, where the bites have come from. As you can see, the bites, like, you know, when I circle this right here, it's a point, and this is a point, and this is probably a canal, you know, that they had to dredge out to get back to that house. So that's gonna be a little bit harder bottoms, but it's also an irregularity. You know, as you go back here and you see this other spot where we caught that good fish and those others, it's kind of the same thing. It's an irregularity, isolated clump, you know, at the mouth of a canal. So I'm just trying to show you some areas that where the lily pads are different, you know, just not these long straight stretches. For me, I need some sort of variance or irregularity to get bites. You know, that's just how it's been. That's how it is most of the time. It's in those areas that are a little bit different than everything else. There is a bunch of them around here. Got to be some big ones somewhere close by. Hey, real quick, let's do the power stop breakdown. Couple things. You know, we started out this morning with this rig right here. It was a 710 fluorocarbon 20-pound test, 1/4 ounce weight, high speed Johnny Morris reel, 3/0 Berkeley Fusion hook, little clacker in there. You know, I caught a lot of fish on that, but I lost a lot also, and I kind of wanted to test that today. Then I've gone over to Braid with a fluorocarbon leader, same leader, 20-pound test. I wanted to keep it the same, 50-pound Bass Pro Braid. I had to go up in a weight here recently because I've lost a few and I was running out. Same hook, and I did change over. You know, earlier this morning I was using, you can see them laying everywhere, just the Berkeley Max Scent black with a blue tail. I've gone just to the general. It's a little bit harder plastic to get these bites, but I've moved over. I've got it on a 7.6 heavy action rod. Why didn't I go on that 710? That's a lot of rod. You know, something's got to give a little bit. So I've got no stretch now with the Braid with a fluorocarbon leader. Again, the high-speed reel. Yeah, that's my power stop breakdown. I'm gonna catch me another 1 or 2 or 3 and hopefully a giant. Come on, come on, come on, get in here. Crazy, when you get around some, you get a bunch of bites. I think Braid's a better deal. Yeah, I've lost a couple with Braid, but you're going to lose some. I don't know, I think my percentage is better today on Braid. I also think there's a fine line in throwing too far, you know, like I like to make long pitches, especially in clear water like this. Fortunately, we got some wind, you know, blowing now today, but the longer the pitch, the better the chances are of you getting a bite. You know, when you get up tight, I just know those fish feel your presence of the boat. But then, you know, getting it away from the boat like that, your chances of landing that bass go way down, especially when you get a big one. So it's just kind of a fine line there that you'll have to establish. There's a bite. Have not moved the boat, and we've caught 3. Just kind of a fine line on how close you can get to them before you spook them. Man, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I don't know, I wanted to test between Braid with a fluorocarbon leader versus just a straight fluorocarbon. I feel like I know without a fact, you know, you're probably asking why not just straight Braid, no leader. Man, I just know I get more bites with that fluorocarbon in really clear water like this. So yeah, guys, that is my day. Pitching around a general, catching some bass. We didn't get that all-time giant today, but I got to get everything ready for this tournament and go win one here on Kissimmee Chain of Lakes down here in Florida. So I appreciate you guys following along. Hit that subscribe button, give me a like and thumbs up and a comment and all that good stuff, and we'll see you next week.